Hello and welcome back to the channel. Um, haven't taken quite as long this time to get to the next Ryan video, but still longer than we
Exactly.
intended. Ryan's back, and we are talking this time about legends of early 70s power pop big star, fronted by Alex Chilton. Of course, I've talked about the Replacements on the channel before, and they have a song about Big Star and about Alex
Yes.
Chilton, which is a really cool song where it's kind of imagining a world where Big Star are as big as the Beatles. And that's the thing about Big Star, is that despite their name, the irony is that they never were big stars. They were very much on the periphery and the alternative. So yeah, we both had the same. We both knew 3 of the 4 albums going in, right?
Yep. Yep.
So yeah, I'm not sure. I think Alice in Chains, similar. It'll be similar to Alice in Chains, where we'll have similar lists and similar overall opinions. But I feel like, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I know yours. I feel like I know yours quite a bit. It's just maybe the top 2 were yours, but yeah, the top 3 is tough. The top 3 is tough.
yeah, yeah. So I guess we can get into it. 4
Yeah.
albums. I'll go first because you went first with Alice in Chains.
Okay. Okay.
I did have to check what I was waiting for you to come in.
Did you check that?
Yeah, I did. So
I respect that. I respect that.
just to make sure. So my number 4, this is going to be no surprise to anybody. I'm not going to pull something crazy like not putting this at the bottom.
Thank God.
My number 4 is their 2005 reunion album, In Space. So this is it's hard to call this a big star album because
Yeah.
a few members from the Posies were involved, another power pop band who have the song Solar Sister, which I think is better than any song on this album. But
That's a good song. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, overall it's not really much to say about it. I don't think it's like cut the crap tier awful. I think
No, it's not.
just
It's not
kind
bad.
of uninspired and unnecessary. Like, I don't think anybody needed this album. I did put down that it barely feels like Big Star. It feels like another power pop band. It doesn't really carry any of the energy or charisma from the 70s stuff. It's just very bland. I don't think it's terrible. It's Love Revolution is really crap. It's incredible. And
yeah, I was laughing. I was laughing during that one. I was like, I cannot believe this.
Yeah, a whole thing is also kind of embarrassing as well. But there's a couple half decent songs. Lady Sweet is pretty good, and I quite like February's Quiet, but they're not, with the album only being on YouTube, they're not songs I'm going to seek out and listen to really ever.
Yeah.
So especially when we've got the quality of stuff ahead of it. So I'm going to go 5 out of 10, maybe a bit generous, but yeah, in spaces, I will never think about this album ever again once we've finished.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. It's my number 4 as well. No surprise. I like Lady Sweet. Same as you. I think that one's probably the only good song that I would maybe listen to again, but probably not. It's not on Spotify. But yeah, other than that, there's nothing here that you want to listen to. They sound order as well, which is not what you want. It doesn't really, and yeah, it's not classic Big Star at all. It's you can tell it's a reunion. The sound order, not that into it. Pretty boring. I've got 4 out of 10.
Wow, yeah, that's I actually liked it more than The Devil Put Dinosaurs Here. So
no, no, no chance.
Oh, that's a pretty good reaction. Oh well. My number 3. Interesting re-listens these. I think Ryan knows what I'm going to say, and it's Radio City, the second album, 1974. This has always been because I think Ryan did as well. Before we decided to do this, I always thought they only had 3 albums. Like, I had no idea they had.
Yeah, I thought that as well.
But I always thought this was of the 3 albums that I thought they had, this was the weakest one. But Yeah, I don't know what it is about this one. I think that on the first Big Star album, you got Alex Chilton and Chris Bell, and Chris Bell sings the songs like "Feel" and the more sort of power pop leaning songs, and Chilton sort of sings the more ballady type songs. And Bell has left by this album, and it's all Alex Chilton. I love Alex Chilton; he's great. But I feel like the power pop songs on this one are not quite as, he doesn't quite sell them as well as Chris Bell does. I think Chris Bell suits that style, even though I do much prefer Alex Chilton. I feel like him having the entire songwriting focus kind of makes it feel a bit uneven for me. I'm not a big fan of "Oh My Soul," which might get me shot because that's a very popular.
That's
song.
awkward.
Yeah. I think, yeah, they don't really go into my favorite style of theirs much on this album. However, it really picks up in the last three songs, especially "September Girls" and "I'm in Love with a Girl." I think those are both top tier Big Star songs, and with what feels like quite an uneven and not very exciting album, to have those at the end really props it up for me. So it's a 7 for me. I think it's good. And yeah, I feel like you might have it higher, but we'll see now.
Well, no, it's also my number 3 as well.
Okay.
It like I said, these top 3, I could probably argue any order for these, but it just drops a bit because I think it's not quite as consistent as the other two.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a bit more guitar based as well. A lot more guitar in it, not many acoustics apart from "I'm in Love with a Girl." But I love "Oh My Soul." That's such a good opener, like a jamming opener. The guitars are great. The drums on this album as well really, really stand out. A lot more than the first one, I think. And yeah, I think there's loads of good songs in here. Like it's just, like I said, it's just consistency a bit. It gets it. Something like "She's a Mover's" not as good. "Mod Lang's" okay, but yeah, not quite consistent. But it's got "September Girls," "I'm in Love with a Girl," "You Get What You Deserve," and "Oh My Soul." Really, really good songs.
I agree with 2 of those.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, what you deserve is yeah. So
I love that song.
my number 2. Are we gonna have the exact same list?
We could. I don't know, but I'm not sure though. I'm not sure.
My number 2 is going to be number 1 record, which might be a surprise to some people because this is their most famous album, is their debut album, and it has most of their most famous songs, and I think for good reason. You know, I think that Alex Chilton wrote 5 of these, and they're all top tier. You got 13, "Ballad of El Goodo," "Give Me Another Chance," "Watch the Sunrise," and "When My Baby's Beside Me" are the Alex Chilton songs. All of them are amazing. Like they are, you could argue that those are the 5 best songs on the album.
Yeah.
Where, I mentioned that Chilton trying to replicate Chris Bell's style on Radio City was a problem for me. I don't love the Chris Bell's. Well, I like "Feel." I think "Feel's" a really good opener. And, other than that, the Chris Bell songs, like, they're good. I just don't love his voice that much. I think he fits the style quite well. But I don't know. For me personally, when you got Alex Chilton, who in my opinion has the voice of an angel, in the same band, it's kind of like, it's weird because I just complained that there's too much Alex Chilton on the last album.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like my number 1 is where Alex Chilton maybe got full creative control and sort of went to the style that suits him more, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But the highlights on this are all-time highlights. I just did my 1972 top songs video, and 13 was pretty high up there. "Ballad of El Goodo" wasn't far off making the list as well. So you can suspect that they will make an appearance on my top Big Star songs list. We'll see.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it's an iconic album. I think I had it, ironically, number 13 on my on my 1972 albums list. Which, yeah, it's a really strong album. It's a strong 8 for me. I think there's the highlights are enough to really carry it through, but I think there is an issue with consistency, especially having the two songwriters, and when one of them, all 5 of his songs are perfect, and the other one
Mm,
has some good highs, like I said, I really like Feel. Um, yeah, some of the, and there's also another member of the band sings, is it India song as well, which is not great, but
yeah, yeah.
it's a really really good album, and I get why it's so hyped up, and it has some of Big Star's best songs, but it's not my favorite Big Star album. It's my number 2.
Okay. Well, my number 2. At least we have different lists because I've got third
Okay,
as
okay.
my number 2. This one grew on me quite a lot. It was my least favorite out of the 3, but I think it's just so consistent and a lot more acoustic, a lot sadder. Some really sad moments, especially Holocaust. I mean, that is just the sound of that song is unbelievably sad. But still some happy songs as well. Not worrying about the track list, but the one we listened to, it's got Kins of Me and then Thank You Friends, the first 2 songs, and they're really good power pop songs. And it's the consistency on this one which gets it for me. I've got all the songs are like 7 out of 10 to 9 out of 10 being the best. That's the range. There's no 10s. If there was a couple of 10s, it would probably get the top spot, but not quite. But it doesn't miss on this album. It's got a really good cover, Female Fertile, and yeah, loads of great acoustics. Big fan of it.
Okay, well, one day we'll have the exact same list for something.
One day.
It won't be our next one. We'll get into that when we finish what our next
No. No.
But stay tuned for that, which obviously means, I mean, we kind of both missed on a joke by putting third in third, but we
I
didn't.
I almost did, but it's not possible.
Actually, yeah, I thought number 1 record would be my number 1, but like you, third grew on me this time, and it's gone from second to first, and it's my favorite Big Star album. I sort of echo a lot of what you said. I think a really great sound, really sad sound. I love the cover of Femme Fatale by the Velvet Underground. Great vocals. Alex really sells it. And there's so many Velvet Underground covers, but to have someone with a voice that good covering, that song is really something. I think the way his vocals are produced and the way they sound on this album are the best they've sounded. Like, he just sounds heavenly on the whole album. Loads of great highlights, probably too many to mention, but like you said, Thank You Friends, Kiss of Me, I like For You, Stroke It Noel, like just so many really really strong tracks. Holocaust, like you said, and yeah, it kind of I feel like it's probably, they were a very influential band, on people like Tom Petty and REM and the Replacements, obviously. But I feel like this album, you can definitely see the influence it had on sort of sad boy songwriters like
Yeah.
Elliott Smith and whatnot. So obviously he covered 13. So Elliott Smith clearly he was a big Star fan, and they're kind of like the Velvet Underground in that way, where they are, people say about the Velvet Underground that they're your favorite band's favorite band, and they say that about Sparks, and they say about that about Big Star as well, because they didn't really get the success at the time, but they a lot of bands cite Big Star as a big influence to them. So yeah, and I think this album definitely a different feel, and I think it's really Alex probably going through a lot of tough stuff in his life and really finding the right sound for him. And unfortunately, they recorded it in 74 and it didn't come out till 78, which is
Yeah.
pretty wild. But yeah, like you said, there's 2 different track lists. I've listened to both track lists because the first time I listened to it, I made sure I listened to the original track list. I don't know. I don't really see much difference. Like, I feel like Thank You Friends does work well towards the end. But it also works really well at the start because it's just a great song. So it's tricky to poke holes in either track. It's the same songs, just in a different order. It's not like, the Rolling Stones have a few albums where the track lists just don't have, like, the US and the UK versions are so different.
Yeah, completely.
Argue about, like, oh, the Aftermath UK version is the better version. Whereas I think with this, it's more just personal preference because it's the same song, it's just in a
Yeah.
different order, and it's whichever one you know best is the one that you're gonna gravitate towards. So, yeah, I think Third is a fantastic album. Great. Oh, the strings on this album are just amazing. So well done.
Mm.
And yeah, very singer-songwriter focused after the very guitar focused Radio City. So yeah, love it. Strong. I almost got it to a 9, but it's strong 8. I really wanted to get it to a 9, but I couldn't justify it.
Yeah. Obviously, number one record is my number one. I really wanted to get a 9 as well, but it's just a yeah. It's a very it's close to a 9. It's more consistent than I remembered. Actually, we're going back into this. There was a lot of songs where I was like, "Oh, that's a better song than I thought." Give me a chance, try again, and probably Feel as well. It all grew me quite a bit. But obviously, it's got the classic songs: "In the Street," "13," "Ballad of El Gooder," all back to back. The start of the record is really strong. And yeah, Watch the Sunrise as well. It's a personal favorite. Super good acoustic, and it's a really feel good album. Easy listen, flies by. Yeah, it's really strong, and it's classic Big Star.
Yeah, it's feel good in a lot of ways, but there's a lot of more melancholic moments.
There is
kind of what works about them as a band.
Yeah.
So there we go. I mean, similarly to when Sam and I did Slow Dive, and that was only 4 albums, I suppose the more interesting discussion is going to be the songs, which we will get to.
Yeah.
But yeah, interesting. I figured you might have Radio City above Third, but otherwise I think that was probably the list I expected. Yeah,
it was tight. It was all 8 or 10 from top 3.
Yeah, I mean,
just different levels.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting. I feel like if they'd have carried on longer, either they carried on longer or they were about maybe a bit later. They probably could have had a bit more success and more time in the studio and all that kind of stuff. They could have maybe brought out more albums and really shone when Power Pop was, because their final album came out the same year as the Cars debut. So I'd be interested to see what they would be like in the new wave movement with that power pop thing. I think they could have really thrived. Obviously they influenced a lot of those bands. So yeah, I did sort of briefly mention it. Ryan and I, behind the scenes, I've been talking about doing a special discography for when I reach 100 subscribers. And then one of my videos got a lot of traction, and I went from 75 subscribers to 98 in a week. So it kind of caught us off guard. And I can announce that the next discography we're going to be doing together is going to be Weezer. Every studio album, not the EPs, because that would kill me if I had to do 4 EPs as well.
Yeah. But the Christmas EP.
No, we're not doing
that. Yeah, no.
What is it? 16 albums altogether, I think.
Yeah,
something
like that.
It's a lot, and
it is a lot. It is a lot.
You've heard more of them than I have. I've heard, I think, 5 or 6 altogether. So that is going to be a hell of a video. Not many Weezer full discography rankings out there, so I feel like we might get some interesting discussion.
Yeah,
I think I especially have some interesting Weezer opinions.
You're gonna. I don't know. I don't know if you're gonna have fun, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. We'll see how the comments treat me, but I don't think we've done anything controversial with Big Star. It's not like either of us put in. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, and thank you to all the new subscribers. Who knows? Maybe by the time this is out, I will have hit 100. It's possible. And yeah, thanks Ryan for joining me. We'll be getting on with songs right away, and that'll be released for you a couple days after the album. So yeah, thanks for watching, and see you.